Hey, welcome back, knife nerds and everyday care people. It's a Big Canucker here, and we have got ourselves a little bit of a head-to-head battle of two knives that are, I think, Hall of Fame knives, produced by the same manufacturer. There's kind of a big one and a little one, and I have to tell you that I don't know in my head right now which one is going to win. I am still so up in the air. That's how close they are together. Of course, we are talking about, I think, a Hall of Fame, one of the knives that started all, the Paramilitary 2. And of course, the one that everybody thought was kind of the one that was taking the mantle up, which is the Para 3. Okay, so now I don't know how to think about this, whether I want to think about the fact that this is a Paramilitary 2 in crew wear, and this is a Para 3 in Maximate. Like, should I think about them that way, or should I think about just the fact that you've got a Paramilitary 2 in G10 with S30V and a Para 3 in G10 with S30V? I mean, that would be kind of more close, but I mean, both of them have got specialized steel. This one's got the micarta on it, and this one here has got grade G10. I don't know. I think what we'll probably end up doing is I think we'll compare the knives as they are, as they sit, and I think we'll also have a recommendation, I think, as just S30V to S30V, G10 to G10. I think we will give recommendations on both too as well. All right, so let's go to the tabletop and let's look at the technical specs of these two knives head to head. Okay, so these are the cold hard facts on these two particular knives right now. Okay. Now your Paramilitary 2 has got is 8.29 inches long with a closed length of 4.282 inches. The blade thickness is 3.7 millimeters or 0.145 of an inch. It is a four position clip on this too as well. Your blade length is 3.47 inches long. Your edge length is 3.05. The handle here happens to be micarta, which is lovely. It is a compression lock. It is built in the United States. The steel is Crucible Particle Metallurgy Crewware, which is an extremely tough, stable, great edge holding steel, and it weighs 3.8 ounces or 108 grams. The clip is left or right, and your blade is a fully flat ground. Now, here on your Paramilitary 3 here, your overall length is 7.24 inches. Your closed length is 4.29. Your braid thickness is 3.7 mil, so the exact same. It is a four-position clip where you've got tip up, tip down, as well as left and right. The blade length is 2.95 inches, so sub 3 inches, with an edge length of 2.62 inches. The handle is G10. It does have the fantastic Spyderco compression lock. It is built in the good old US of A. The steel here is face melting Maximate, which is, wow, this is unbelievable steel that takes edge holding to new heights in steel itself. Clip position, of course, is ambidextrous, and the grind is fully flat too as well. All right, so now that's just the numbers right off the bat. Now, and if you want to have a look at them, this is the size of them together here. You can see how the Paramilitary 2 is just bigger in almost every way other than width. Your blades are the same size, tall, and of course you've got the nice big 14 mil Spidey hole in both blades too as well. Now, I would have to say that probably just thinking about this 6 months ago or so, right in the middle of when I was in the middle of carrying this Para 3, I would have thought that the Paramilitary 2 would be just blown away by the Para 3. And if you go back and have a look at my review of this Para 3, you'll hear I was just absolutely in love with this knife. It is unbelievable. Although, and I was kind of at the time, I wasn't super high on the Paramilitary 2. I had traded my original Para tool, which was the S30V Digicam version, away for a 940-1 Benchmade Osborne 940-1. And because I wanted to try that knife out. Since I started collecting the knife, I wanted an Osborne. And the guy was like, hey, I'll trade you a PM2 for it. And I was really sick of my PM2 at the time. And I traded out to him, got the 940-1, liked the knife, but immediately missed having a Paramilitary 2 around. I missed it. Even though it sat in my box for a while, I didn't use it for a bit. I just missed it, and I thought, damn, I got to get one back. Now, I happened to be out last month over to Alberta Firearms here. I was talking to Steven. We were doing a commercial, and he said, look what I got, just came off the cart there, and it was this Paramilitary 2 in micarta with the crewware, and I was like, oh my goodness, you bastard. I didn't want to buy a knife that day, but oh, this is such a great knife. And then this has not left my pocket since then. Today is about the first day that I haven't carried this knife. I've actually gone back to carrying another Spyderco today. Just felt like carrying something with a little bit more oomph to it. And so I'm actually going to carry this Tough right now, this DLT exclusive Tough today. And then I thought, let's do a head-to-head comparison here with these two buggers here, because they are absolutely fantastic knives. You cannot get away from the fact. All right, so let's start from the front here. You've got the blades. Of course, Maximate will beat Crewwear in edge holding ability. Crewwear will beat Maximate in toughness, because it is a way, way tougher knife. Stainlessness, I do believe that Maximate is, even though this is not a stainless steel, I do think that Crewwear is quite a bit more stainless than the Maximate. Now the 3.46 mil, the 3.5 inches, I was actually really quite surprised and quite happy at how much work I was able to get done with this smaller sub 3-inch blade, because to me 3.5 inches seems to be the sweet spot of EDC. It's not too big and wieldy, but you can do a lot of cutting with it, and I have absolutely no issues with this Maximate in the 3-inch version. I was more than happy to do all my everyday carry tasks with this 3-inch blade. Now, what am I going to do here? Who's going to win? If we are talking S30V to S30V, bigger, better, badder is best. If we're talking Maximate over Crewwear, for me, I like edge holding ability. I would go give it the Maximate. I just think the Maximate is such a good steel. Now, you're cutting twisted sisal rope. Okay, you're probably, according to, let's just say, Mr. Peter, you put some mirror polished edge on both these knives. Your Crewwear, you're probably cutting 3, middle to high 3s for your twisted sisal rope, whereas this one you're over 1,000. I think it was up to 1,500. It just balls out. I'm gonna give this one to Maximate. S30V, I'm gonna give it to the Paramilitary 2, if that's clear as mud. All right. Now let's move down here a little bit. Of course, with the compression lock, they're both compression locks. There doesn't seem to be a big difference in how the way they're built or anything like that. They're both extremely drop shutty. So and they both came from factory, extremely centered, and so there's no real winner there. No winner chicken dinner. There's just a great lock that's tough. And they're both like that. So we'll call the lock as a tie. So now we've got micarta versus G10. Man, oh man. Micarta is just one of those cool things, especially this canvas micarta, that feels really neat. It's almost like it's got a suede feeling to it. And it seems to be like it's standing up. It's a really nice warm feeling. It grips. And not only does it grips without shredding your pockets. This is just a really grippy material, and as it gets wet, it also gets grippier. I would say the only knock on this micarta, this particular micarta, is it gets a little bit stained. I put a little bit of fluid here, just to a little bit of lube to lube up this pivot, and it squirted through one of these holes, and it was a stain at the end until I took a little bit of rubbing alcohol and just wiped it off, and I was able to get it off, no problem. And then another thing I noticed is that because I've carried this so long, it's developing a little bit of a patina as it's on its own. And so I liked the way it looked right from factory. I liked that kind of paleness to it. I didn't like the kind of that little bit of the patina to it. So what I've done to this knife is I've actually washed it with Avon Bubble Bath, of all things. It's just a really mild cleaner that doesn't leave anything behind. It smells nice. It's not super harsh or anything like that, and it cleaned up this scale and it made it just absolutely brand new. So, and I discovered Avon Bubble Bath. My wife uses it to wash down our shower doors because they get that film built on it. Well, for whatever reason, how this Avon cleans, when you wipe it down, you don't even have to rinse it off. You just actually could wipe it down, leave all the bubbles on it. You come back half an hour later and it's dry and there's no streaks, and I don't know, it's some sort of sorcery or magic. And and that's what it done to this knife too as well. So I cleaned it all up and I did rinse it off. I didn't leave the bubble bath in there, and it looked brand new when it dried. So it's very, very mild cleaner and it works fantastic. And then here we've got G10, which is, G10 is grippy. It looks good. It's got good torsional rigidity. It's solid. It's chemical resistant. It doesn't stain. You can dye it. It's almost the perfect knife scale. But I'm going to give this one to micarta because the micarta just feels better. It looks better. It's a little bit more of a premium too as well. You can see here though, what they had to do with, because they put in the micartas, they had to put the full liners. They're not nested like they are here with the G10. And that's just to give it a little bit, because the micarta is not as rigid torsionally as the G10, but I just happen to really like that look too as well. I think that's a good look here, and I would even love to see it on there. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be nested. It just looks good with the liner on it. So micarta's going to win that. All right, we've got the extra large tube holes here. You've got the construction is very, very similar. Now, as far as ergonomics wise, when I first saw the Paramilitary 2 and I saw Spyderco in general, I was like, oh my goodness, what a weird looking knife. The handle to blade ratio is really off. It's off to your eyes, but it's not off to your hands. It's something that I think when Eric and Sal was designing this here, and Eric, I think they used a lot of the time. The joke is that they designed it in the dark just by holding on to it, and you can tell in a lot of ways that's true. It's a very, very ergonomic knife, but there is still a few little hot spots in it here and there, where I think some of that stuff with the Para 3, they've seemed to have maybe solved that a little bit more. It just seems like the size of the Para 3, just even though I've got really big double XL hands, the Para 3 just fits right into my hand like a glove. I'm really, and it could be kind of the difference between micarta here. It's a little bit straighter than the G10. It's a little more rounded off, but I just think that the Para 3 in my hands are just a little bit more comfortable, even with not taking advantage of that front 50 60-40 choil. That fits awesome, and then my hand locks in there. I got no problems with that whatsoever. Even here it locks in quite nicely, but it just seems to lock in a little bit better with the Para 3. So ergonomic wise, I'm going to give it to the Para 3, even though they are extremely similar. All right, so now what else can we talk about? Well, the clips are the same, although there are people who wish that these clips would be the wire clips. Everybody seems to love the wire clips, but you can put some really, really good, any deep carry clip that will go to the Paramilitary 2 will also fit in the Para 3. Excuse me for a second. I just got to clear my throat. Oh. Drink some of my coffee. All right. So they are the exact same spoon clip. The only thing I really kind of dislike about any of these the spoon clips is I don't like the painted ones. I love these kind of chromed out ones or brushed steel look. I think it's a really, really good looking clip. I think it's a sturdy clip. I think it grips your jeans or your pants extremely well. The only thing is perhaps it leaves a little bit sticking out, but that little bit of knife. Hey, any really deep carry clip that I've put on any of my knives, and maybe I'm just not putting the right ones, but it just doesn't seem like it holds as securely as the Spyderco clip. The Spyderco clip does a really, really good job holding on to your jeans. I feel safe and secure. Even in a pair of sweatpants, I feel safe and secure carrying both of these knives because they grip so nice. So it's a draw right there. All right, so fit and finish. Both of these knives came fit and finish, were excellent, centered. There was no issues with either one. Extremely happy with both. The flickability on both is extremely awesome. I mean, and there are so many videos out there of people with opening these paramilitary 2s with every finger. You know, a Spidey flick with that finger, then you know you can Spidey flick with this finger, and you know so on, and pinky finger and stuff like that. Well, with this one, you can pretty much do the exact same thing. I've never been one to kind of try to open it as many times as as many different types as I could. They both are just extremely flicky and fidgety. But I would have to say, if I had to give one to a winner, I would say that perhaps the Para 3 just edges the Para 2 ever so slightly, just because it just seems like it's a little bit easier to flick with some of these fingers. Just being smaller, your fingers are able to kind of go around it, and it just seems like it just fits just that little bit extra nicer in there to flick. I'm going to give it to the Para 3 just by a smidge. I mean, none of these things here that where one is beating the other one is by anything more than just a very, very, like, you know, if we're talking on a scale of 1 to 10, we're talking about, you know, this will win here by 9, and this will win here, this will be 9, and this will win by 9.1. Like, I mean, that's how close it is on these things. Extremely, extremely close. Now, working, these are considered, you know, tough working knives. You know, you've got the extra edge here with the Paramilitary 2, but it seems like you've got a little bit more tip stability here with the Para 3. It doesn't seem to taper down to that kind of thinness for so long here. So you can see them kind of together. Like, you know, it just seems like your Para 3 has a little bit more meat on it than your Para 2, just ever so slightly. But I mean, working wise, I think I'm going to have to give it to the Paramilitary 2 over this one here. You know, if we're just doing nothing but cutting, say, cardboard, Max Cement. If we're doing something but just all around general, you know, cutting everything, I'm going to give it to the Paramilitary 2. Just that little bit of extra size of that 1/2 inch can make a difference in some sort of things. So as just a regular able to do work knife, I think I'm going to give it to this one. You know, in the crew wear, and also the S30V when I'm talking both knives, S30V to crew wear. All right, so that seems to be kind of where we're at here. Now, the final thing here. These two knives together, head to head, based on my lifestyle, because I'm mostly just cutting cardboard, breaking down cardboard boxes, stuff like that, I would have to say I would give the Paramilitary, the Para 3, a slight edge over the Para 2 based upon my kind of lifestyle. Now, the S30V G10 to S30V G10, I would give it to the Paramilitary 2 based on that extra 1/2 inch. And the stuff that the Para 3 does better than the Para 2 is not that much to make over that little bit of extra size. Because if you're having to do a lot more work than just what I do, I think you're going to appreciate that little bit of extra size, you know, kind of getting into the area, cutting zip ties, things like that. I think the crew wear or the S30V is just a fantastic steel all the way around. And I just think that extra size just does it just a little bit extra over the how much more comfortable this Para 3 was. But I was still absolutely blown away. So out of these two, if I had to take one and throw it out the window as I was driving down the road, I would throw this one and keep this one. If I was going to work tomorrow and somebody said, here, you can only have one of these, Para 2 or Para 3, I would take the Para 2 in the S30V G10 because it's just that extra bit of size gives you that little bit of extra versatility. So, hope that kind of cleared things up. You know, it's kind of clear as mud here. That's just my opinion. I'm sure that there will be 100 other different opinions there. And you know what? These things can go back and forth too, depending upon what the steel is, what the outside is. Because, I mean, with the Paramilitary 2, there is so many other Para 2s out there. You can get carbon fiber. You can get S110 with the Blurple, S110V. With this here, you can get a lightweight version on both of them now. You can get an S110 with this with Blurple too as well. There's just so many variations on both of them, and both of them can be so customizable too as well. And that's the other thing I guess I kind of forgot too, where the Para 2, if we're talking about just a Para 2 with the S30V and the G10, is there's a whole lot more stuff out there to customize this Paramilitary 2 than there is to customize this Para 3. And that's just for the fact that this has been around for longer, and it is one of those extremely popular knives, and it does customize extremely well. So that's the other thing that kind of maybe puts that past the edge a little bit too when we're talking just plain olds. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed what I had to say here. Hope you guys will subscribe and give me the thumbs up, because I do appreciate it. Now, we are not out of the woods yet, so I want you folks out there to please stay safe. Please keep your stick on the ice, the shiny side up. This is the Big Canucker saying adios.